the bad part about putting a machine in storage is that that's usually where machines go to die. So if you didn't take a video of that machine before you took it off power, if you don't know what the hours are and now it's in storage, lots of buyers on the retail side, they're going to want to see that. They're going to want to inspect that machine.
Right.
Can't inspect it if it's, can't see a video if you didn't take one.
Welcome to Manufacturing Insiders. Today I have Kyle Evangelista with me. He is the CEO of MachineToolBids.com. They're a really notable player in the used CNC machine space. They buy, sell, liquidate, in a number of things. So really, this talk is about, how should you look at machinery? Do you buy used machinery? Do you buy new machinery? When do you sell your machinery? What happens if you're going out of business? What's the best way to liquidate that stuff? So welcome to Manufacturing Insiders, Kyle.
Thanks, Nate. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about Machine Tool Bids and, what the exact function is.
Yeah. So Machine Tool Bids, we've been around 13 years. I like to say we're forward-looking partner, right? For industrial machinery buyers and sellers who want speed, transparency, results, right? So whether you're looking to clear a single machine quickly or move an entire plant, which we all know can be troublesome, or you want to just understand the value of your surplus machinery, Machine Tool Bids brings that's the strategies, right, that align with your goals, and not outdated playbooks.
Right. And are you guys solely in the CNC machines, or are we talking about injection molding machines? What's the range of the machinery you deal with?
Machine tools and fabrication equipment, specifically metalworking. So anything that bends, cuts, shapes, forms metal, we're interested. Plastic injection would be a no.
Gotcha. Okay. So with the being in the used machinery space, and a lot of your business model is based off of buying machinery from companies and then reselling it. What trends are you seeing in Mexico, Canada, the US?
Yeah, so we operate in North America. I think some trends, at least given the political environment, have been pretty interesting. Our business, at least, we haven't felt too great of an impact with the political environment thus far, but you can see in places like Canada, it does seem like the Canadian market is interested in selling their equipment, liquidating their facilities. In Mexico, I think that I don't know if we've seen prices as high as this ever in Mexico. They want top dollar for every machine, and it seems like they're getting that money when it's being sold within Mexico.
Right.
And in the United States, the PMI came out, the manufacturing PMI came out earlier this year at 52, which indicates a little bit of growth. 50 is stability, 52 the expansion of manufacturing. And then I think it was last month, the manufacturing PMI came out again, and it actually contracted to 49.
Okay.
Feeling fortunate though, as the United States role in North America, my understanding, current business, it's been pretty stable, and we've been really fortunate and been doing well. So I think the US has been fairly stable, while Mexico seems very strong, and Canada seems maybe in a little bit weaker position as a lot of people are liquidating machinery.
Right. So you're shipping that machinery from Canada to Mexico.
That would be the ideal goal, right? But given the tariffs and stuff, it doesn't always work, right? So I think a lot of machines that we see in Canada are really they're really great, right? It looks amazing. We want to get them. We want to liquidate. We want to buy them. But then you look at, okay, well, what does this do to our business model if we have a U.S. buyer, right? And what does that mean, right? So we used to be very confident in being able just to move machines back and forth over the border, not a big deal. But now when we're acquiring machines, liquidating companies within Canada, a real targeted focus to ensure that we're selling those machines within Canada too, because it's going to be a bit easier when working with the buyers, given there won't be any tariffs there.
Right.
Just another hurdle if you're trying to sell it into the U.S. Nothing that we can't get over, but trying to sell machines from Canada within Canada.
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, the tariffs have, have definitely thrown a wrench in a lot of operations. I personally think they're a good thing and see the benefit in it, but I am not. I'm not denying in any way that it's caused a lot of, in some cases, unnecessary turmoil in the manufacturing space.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly think the communications and consistency, I think, are the two big things, because when it's changing all the time, it's
Yeah.
impossible to adjust your business model to reflect those changes and stay stable.
Yeah.
So you guys have been somewhat susceptible to that.
Yeah. And I think there's been I think in our space, companies in the US and Canada, if they, they're, because of the tariffs, jobs get canceled and machines aren't needed any longer, right? So, fortunately, we benefit from that, right?
Right.
So we've been really fortunate.
For sure. Well, how have you seen automation change what you do? As companies are looking to, you know, fill positions that, well, I guess they're having a hard time filling positions, and so they're moving towards automation. How does that affect your business?
Yeah, I think it's really relevant, right? I mean, it just happened yesterday. A gentleman wanted one of our machines that we were liquidating, and at the end of the day, it wasn't going to work as much as he wanted the machine and needed the machine, because he actually didn't have a machinist to operate the machine, even if he
Right.
got it, right?
Right.
Um, and so until he gets that person, right, there's really nothing that we can do to move that get that machine to his floor.
Right.
So I think people, like in many businesses, tend to be the foundation and the anchor of success. And I don't know if that will ever truly go away. But when we look at AI and when we look at automation, it's certainly having its moment. I would say more so AI is having its moment right now,
Right.
than maybe automation so much, at least from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know how in depth I can get as it relates to the impact of automation right now.
Hmm.
Uh, but I do know that AI is having an effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just had that conversation where it seems like you're having these massive leaps forward in AI capabilities and usage, but it, it doesn't seem like, the robotics end of things or the hardware end of things has really changed that much from traditional machine learning and, traditional applications
Hmm.
as quickly. So I wonder when those two things are going to converge a little bit, and you're going to see more of that interpretive function of AI in, the physical robotics and automation.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think there's still a ways to go with that. What do you think the biggest mistake machine shop owners make with regards to either their machinery purchase or their machinery sales or their machinery maintenance? What's the biggest mistake they're making?
It's a good question. I think from a if we talk about like liquidation and maximizing your assets, I think there's a real opportunity as a manufacturing community, um, to know that if your machine, even if your machine is old, let's just say it's a 1999 or let's say it's 2005, right? It's got 20 years on it. It's a name brand. At the end of the day, I think there's outlets like ours to continue to help someone else get value out of those machines.
Hmm.
I think it's been common to just say, let's scrap these machines, when in reality, there is somebody in North America who desperately wants that machine.
Right.
And yeah, no, I don't think we're going to get top dollar for it, but we're going to get way more than scrap value for it because of the need that some other job shop or company has desperately been looking for that machine, but can't afford a new one.
Right.
And so I think the ability, right, to connect buyers and sellers of this community to know that, you know, you can, there are great machines out there at great prices. And, part of the liquidation business is, it's like connecting, there's so much power in connecting buyers and sellers. And when you connect sellers with real buyers who need reliable machines at really great prices, right? At the end of the day, everybody wins, right? The sellers free up space and
Hmm.
recover value. Buyers gain access to proven equipment that might have otherwise been out of reach, right? And the manufacturing community as a whole keeps moving forward efficiently, sustainably, and with greater access to the tools that power the industry's progress, right? And so, we're in business, machine tool bids, right? We exist to keep valuable machines in use across North America, right?
Right.
Manufacturers, they're sitting on high quality machines they no longer need. And the machines have paid for themselves, hopefully, right? Their contracts, they've made their money. Um, and now they're taking up valuable floor space. And so it's really about, what's more important to me right now, my floor space or the machine, right? And too often they're scrapped, not because they're broken, but because
Mm.
there's no easy path to transfer those machines into the hands of someone who can still put them to work.
Right.
That's the gap in the market.
Right. And you guys provide the logistics too, right? Will you go pick up a machine and, and move it to your warehouse and then sell it? Like, how does that all work?
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, every machine, every deal is different, right? But via our liquidation arm, right, we coordinate all the logistics between the sellers and the buyers, all the payment, if you will, right? White glove concierge service coming from us to make sure everything gets handled. Been
Yeah.
doing this for 13 years, so we know our way around. Um, and that's rigging a machine and getting that machine to the next facility is there's a
A
lot
heavy lift.
that goes wrong in those processes. A
Yeah.
lot. So
Yeah.
you have to do it right.
Right. And do you give the machine a once over? Do you test it? And, like, how do you kind of verify its functionality?
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, we're physically inspecting these machines. We're requesting videos of the machines in use, cutting apart, the spindles moving from low RPMs to high, the screen functioning, the run times, the cut hours, right? We have to verify all of that stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm surprised that there would be companies that would be just scrapping a machine that could be sold. Why do they do that? Because they aren't aware of people like you, or what's the reason?
I think, again, I'm the seller of a machine, and I've had this machine for 10 years, and my contract just ran up, and I've made my money on that machine via the contracts that I had, and I no longer have those contracts. And I've looked online at eBay, I've looked online at other machine tool dealers, and I've seen prices for these things. And is it worth my time to sell this and pocket X amount of dollar?
Hmm.
And is that worth it for me? Uh, no. And I just think I'm just don't really have a use for this, and no one will want it. But at the end of the day, there is somebody that wants it. I mean, our database of 600,000 contacts that we've built, right? And we've built our own liquidation platform to bring in pre-qualified buyers, bidders, if you will, to buy these machines works. And there are people across the country, globally, who come to our auctions and purchase this machines. You might have somebody in India or in Mexico or in South America who's trying to fill up an entire container, right? So they might come to our auctions and buy up 10 or 12 machines over the course of 1 or 2 months and send everything back.
I
Uh,
see.
you know, to wherever they're from. And so, and the process is simple, right? We need photography, we need videos, and we get this thing live. I mean, We're probably one of the only machine tool liquidation companies in the country with a marketing staff like we have, with an IT and development staff like we have, and what we've built is really incredible. And I think, being in the liquidation business, it's really important that we 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 own our data, and we own our outcomes, and we own our results. And
Hmm.
so I think what you see in the market is, a lot of we have our own platform. The auctions that we have, the liquidation events that we have, they happen on machinetoolbids.com. The bidders register through machinetools.com. They place bids, they pay invoice. Everything is done through machinetoolbids.com. Whereas in the rest of the industry, has tended to outsource what I think is the most important part of a liquidation business, which is your ability to bring in bidders.
Right.
I do outsource bringing in bidders to other companies, but I also do it myself, right? And I
Right.
host my auctions on my own platform. I can't put that fully in the hands of a third party. Even though I trust the third parties that we use deeply, I still want to take ownership of the bidders, the platform, and the
Right.
service and the experience, right? And so, at least to my knowledge, we're one of the only machine tool auctioneers, if not the only one, who has our own platform and has been building this over the past couple of years.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's huge, and I can understand what that takes from a technical perspective too. That's a big development effort. Um, and even building the database and maintaining communication with them. That's all very impressive. You guys are able to pull that off. How quickly does equipment typically sell? Like if you have that 2005
Mhm.
Haas, like how long does it take?
The market changes. You have supply and demand, right? So you have some machines that come in really, really hot, right? And everybody wants them right away. And you got 10 buyers for one machine as soon as it hits the market because this machine hasn't been on the market, can't find one for over a year. All right. And then you have other machines that, might have to sit a while. At the end of the day, auctions, though, are when you talk about the liquidation arm, right? The key is marketing. The key is having lead time with the seller of the equipment to know that you all of our bidders and our buyers are going to know what they're buying. The photos are pristine, the specs, the information, everything about this machine is known to the public and the buyers.
Hmm.
And we have a nice lead time to be able to market this, right? Again, I talk about the leverage that we have with trusted third parties to market our liquidation services and the auctions that we're having, in addition to our own internal work that we've been building over 13 years. And so the ability to move a machine, at least in liquidation services, comes down to your ability to get that machine in front of as many qualified eyeballs as possible.
Right.
Um, and for example, I think we have 10 auctions in the next 40 days. So we eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff.
Yeah. So those 10 auctions, those are like a whole facility that's shut down and you're going to liquidate all of the equipment in that facility?
So we have two different types of auctions. One is what you just described, a full facility, right? Maybe a division of a company's closing, or an owner is retiring, or just a section of a warehouse is closing, right? Maybe they have 15 of their 100 machines they want to liquidate. That's
Yeah.
what we call a single facility auction. The
Yeah.
other thing that we actually created 13 years ago and still do it today, are open auctions. And so we have 2 open auctions a month. And these open auctions, what they do is we are in touch with sellers across North America,
Okay.
and we have either 1, 2, or 3 machines that they would like to sell via the auction. And we sign those machines up, we market them out. So you might have 50 machines in an open auction from 40 different sellers,
I see. Yep.
right?
But
And so
but
we
it
do that twice
consolidates.
a month. Yeah. And it's incredible, right? Because this is how we're building our database. This is how we're proving to the world that, like, these machines are real, these deals are real, and the manufacturing community, hopefully it's getting built around machine tool bids, because we're creating the pathways for sellers to maximize their return and buyers to find things that maybe originally they could never find before.
Yeah. I just had a weird thought. So if you have a machine that's being sold or a group of machines that are being sold, you would have to assume that there's a machinist somewhere that's also doesn't have a job anymore, right? So, so there's shops that are desperately looking for machinists, and I wonder if there's an opportunity to create some sort of a job matching scenario in addition to, because I feel like you're already talking to, the people you need to, right? You're already talking to that retiring owner or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
then you build a list of qualified, machining employees, machining programmers, whatever. And, then somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I need a machinist in Arizona." Okay, well, we just so happens we have a couple, and for a small fee, we'd be happy to make an introduction.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's
I
a really
think so.
that would be
I think
amazing.
so.
I mean, if you could help the people directly like that find their next home, especially because those machinists are in high demand.
Yeah,
Uh, totally.
yeah.
I'm writing that
No,
one down.
yeah, you should. You should. Um,
But I think that I think the biggest when you think about auctions, you, the whole platform that we've created, it's about buying direct and saving. We you it when you resell equipment at the end of the day, maybe the seller that you got it from, he never knows what you resold it for, right?
right,
But this is a transparent process. You can see exactly what every machine goes for, right? And buyers are getting deals because there's not the middleman and there's not the dealer markup. You
right.
don't have to put the machine on a truck. You don't have to ship it to your warehouse. You don't have to clean it up, and then you don't have to bring people in to look at it time and time again. And then it finally gets sold a couple months later, right? It's
Yep.
you're buying direct from a manufacturer's floor directly to yours, right? And so there's a lot of money to be saved, and there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, totally. What's the hottest item you got on the lot right now? Like, is there something you're like, man, this thing is gonna go fast?
Oh man, I got one auction coming up shortly that hasn't been posted yet, which will be amazing. But I guess the ones that I do have posted right now, we have one going live on September 10th. It's actually our first open auction in September. So sellers from across the country, um, and we have uh, so for example, right, we have a DMG Mori CMX 800V vertical machining center. It's from 2017.
Wow.
This is a late model machine.
Yeah.
And this is a prime example of a seller of a machine who, unfortunately, for whatever reason, didn't prepare in advance. So they bought a new machine. They didn't really worry about moving this machine until it was too late. And they called us a week and a half ago saying, "I have a new machine coming here in 3 weeks, and we need to get this machine off our floor ASAP." And this machine specifically, right? What are my chances that I have one buyer immediately lined up for this in 3 weeks? Not much.
Right.
But when you put it into an auction and you market to 600,000 people and they know it's up for auction, where typically you're going to get better prices for machines, especially a late model machine like this, that's the quickest and fastest way to move it.
Yeah.
Unless you, as a seller, you want to rig it, you want to put it in a truck, you want to put it in storage. But the bad part about putting a machine in storage is that that's usually where machines go to die.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't take a video of that machine before you took it off power, if you don't know what the hours are and now it's in storage, lots of buyers on the retail side, they're going to want to see that. They're going to want to inspect that machine.
Right. Right.
Can't inspect it if it's, can't see a video if you didn't take one. And so then you have to put it back on a truck, power it up, right? Spend another 10 grand. So this is the way to move machines very, very quickly. If you haven't been proactive leading up to a new machine coming.
That's a really good point. So what is the checklist? If let's say somebody never met you, but they intend on selling this piece of machinery and they are putting it into storage, what's the checklist they need to do before they take that machine offline?
Yeah. So photos and videos important.
Yeah.
So usually when you're taking photos of the machine, right, all four sides, with the door closed, with the door open. Then you want to walk into the machine, take, spindles, turrets, chucks, all of that stuff. You want pictures of all of that. You want to step back. You want to get a picture of the screen that's on, with the cut time hours on, with the run time hours on, anything that it's equipped with, right? Mist collectors, all that stuff. We want pictures of the accessories, right? Because those add value to the machine. And then you want to take a video. And when we talk about machine tools, you're always looking at a walk around video of the machine, a video of the screen that's on. You want to run the spindles. You want to move the tables at high and low speeds. If you have through spindle coolant, you want to run that, show that the machine has it and it's functioning, right? So you want to, videos are usually about 90 seconds long, right? Because if you're going to move a machine in storage, there's really nothing to inspect, because you can't put it under power and you can't run anything. So that video is your proof. But if that machine's been sitting in storage for 3 years, and even if you have all of that stuff, some people are going to be like, I need to see it under power, right? So if you do move it into storage and you do that, just know that like you need to sell that machine within 6 months. You want to get that thing gone. Because if somebody finds out a machine hasn't been powered up in X amount of time, it's like, we're going to have to get the thing powered up if I'm going to make this commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the mice have chewed through wire harnesses and.
Well, you got to use a good storage facility.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's very helpful and informative. I think I'll put a little clip of that description together because I think that'd be useful to a lot of people.
Sure.
Any other last thoughts, for, machine shops that are out there operating, maybe thinking about buying, new stuff, or, thinking about selling old stuff? Anything else that you'd like to point out?
I think it's important that when talking to liquidation firms, dealers, right, that both sellers and buyers, do their due diligence with those firms that they're working with, right? Because it's pretty easy to say that you're number one. I mean, you just say it. We're the best.
Right.
But at the end of the day, right, I was just in a conversation with somebody yesterday about a machine that he unfortunately he had signed it away to another company in the industry, another dealer. And my question to him was just, he said, well, they said they're the best. They said they're number one. And I was like, well, did you look at their website and see how many of those machines they've liquidated in the past? Because it's all, you can look at previous auctions and all that stuff. And I said, you should. Because I know that, they've maybe done it once or twice. And I said, we've moved like 40 of those machines in the past 12 months. He's like, you're kidding me. Right. I said, yeah, I mean, just is what it is. But just because somebody says that, doesn't mean that. Right. So I think it's, we pride ourselves on transparency, and that comes through in our conversations, but also when you can watch these things sell, you can see what price they sell for. But I think that's really important, that stuff gets vetted. And fortunately for us, that person ended up finding a clause in the contract where he could cancel within 30 days and he ended up going with us. So I think I think it speaks volumes, right? Because the results and the machines in our work, we do metal working only, nothing else. Right. It's very easy in this industry to get sidetracked and say, hey, I'm going to do plastic injection molding now. Hey, I'm going to do food processing equipment now. We've said no to all of that. We've just remained focused on metal working only. That's the only thing we do. And we have tons of experts in-house on all of that stuff. And we simply remain focused.
Yeah. No, and it makes sense why that's helpful too, because like you said, the biggest aspect of selling your machine for the best price is having the most buyers available to buy it. And if all of those buyers are interested in machine tools, you're going to have a much higher concentration. You're going to have more people show up to those auctions and be able to sell things for a better price.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, very informative, Kyle. I appreciate this insight. I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of people. And thanks for joining today.
I appreciate you, Nate. Awesome time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, bye.